Hi, I'm Chris Bowden.
And I'm Christian from HCTV, and today we're here with a brand new tutorial.
That's right. We here at HCTV are very excited because we just got brand new cameras.
And it couldn't come at a better time. Today we're going to look at the Sony ex1. It's a pretty awesome camera with a lot of cool features, and we're going to get into the basic functionality of it and even show you the new media that they record on, called ex cards. We'll get into those in a minute, but for right now, let's take a look. So here it is, the Sony ex1. Pretty awesome looking camera, very similar to the Z7U, and today we're going to look at the basic functionality of it. It shouldn't be too hard of a shift for you guys because it does function very much in the same way. So, without further ado, let's take a look. First we'll start with the battery. Not too intimidating, right? No. It does have a few different features, but right now we're going to start with the battery, just to get you going so we can power it up. So to put the battery in the ex1, I'm just going to go right to the back of the camera. Now the only thing that makes it different from the Z7U is the fact that the battery slides to the right and left as opposed to up and down. So here's our battery, and we're just going to put it right in the slot and then slide it to the left until it clicks. Pretty simple, but the cool feature about this battery is that we have a status check button. So if you want to see if your battery is empty, full, halfway, you'll be able to check just by hitting this button. And you see those lights will correspond to the battery life. It's pretty awesome. And to power on the camera, you'll notice that your power button is actually right here. And with the Z7Us, they used to be over here. But instead, we just slip the camera right to on. And then you have your audio over here. Your audio volume is on the side over here on the wheel. We'll get into that too. And then your menu and menu click wheel are all over here. Your DC in, your HDMI, AV, and components are all right here. All in the back. Now with the Z7Us, you're probably used to having your LCD screen up here on top. But what's actually here now is your VCR controls and your onboard mic. The ex1 doesn't come with a shotgun mic that mounts to the side. Even though you do have the option to put that in, it just doesn't come standard. The onboard mic is actually this piece of plastic right here. So to access your LCD screen, it's actually underneath the mic. So it's this. You just pull this out and flip it open. And there's your LCD screen. Now once you have your LCD screen out, you lose your viewfinder. The viewfinder shuts off. And if you ever do want your viewfinder back, if it's a sunny day out or if it's too bright and you need to kind of block off some of that light so you can see the shot you're getting, you can just flip your LCD screen back and your viewfinder will come on. So, pretty straightforward. And then once you have your LCD screen, you can navigate your menu and do anything that you have to do.
Okay, so this next section we're going to talk about is formats such as standard def and high definition and how to access those on the camera. The great thing about the ex cards is that with one card, which is a 64 gigabyte, you can get up to 2 hours of high definition footage on one card. That's really useful. So we're going to look at the menu and see how to change the format within the camera. Okay, so the menu navigation within the ex1 is a little bit different than the Z7U. Things are placed in different areas, so this is actually a pretty good section to maybe take notes on. This button here, the menu button, accesses the menu. You'll see I press it once, the display comes up on the screen. There's a little turn wheel right next to it that's actually labeled Select, S-E-L, so I can actually move up and down within the menu by just scrolling this wheel. The wheel also acts as a button, so when you find the selection you want, it's highlighted, you simply press the wheel in like a button. Now, I'm not going to go through every single bit of this menu right now because there's a lot of stuff you won't use, especially if you're just talking about basics. We'll go all the way down to the very bottom to a section called Others. A very odd spot for switching formats, but it's under the Others menu. Press the wheel in, again scroll all the way down. You'll see a little label called HD/SD mode. Right now, the screen is set to high def. Now you'll notice, since this is a digital camera, you press the wheel in. When I switch to SD, camera actually will make sure, it'll clarify, yes, do you want to actually change the format? I say execute, the camera will actually reboot because it's digital, so we're no longer working in analog. Once it reboots, it should come back and be in standard def quality. Takes a moment. There we go. Now you won't necessarily see a difference right away, except for on the actual LCD screen, you'll see up in the top DV Cam 60i, which means we are in standard def quality. Same thing to repeat the process to go back to high def menu. Scroll down to the others menu, press the wheel in, scroll all the way down till we see the HD SD mode, press the wheel in again, switch back to HD, press the wheel in again, execute, rebooting, count to 3, and when you come back you will be in high definition mode. And you can verify that by looking at the top right hand side of the screen where it'll say HQ, which stands for high quality. And there you have it. That's the basics of changing from standard def to high def. So the great thing about having a camera that uses SXS cards is that you no longer have to work with tapes. You have this little mini hard drive, it's a 64 gig, and like I said, holds up to 2 hours of HD footage. This also cuts down significantly on transfer time when you are taking footage from your card to your computer for editing. You will save yourself probably half the time by using digital format cards. So I want to show you guys the side here of the camera. You'll see this little door. It says SXS on it, open. You simply slide it. It takes a gentle push. It takes a gentle push, gentle push. Opens up. You take the card. Now the card only goes in one way. It's important to not force this in. If you force it in, if it's not going in, do not force it. Put it in, goes right in. You see the little red light up there, turns green, means you're good to go. Shut the door, and you're ready to rock and roll. Same thing to take the card out. You just slide the door open. There's a little safety button right underneath it. When you press it, card pops out. That's all you gotta do. The camera also features a second slot for an extra SXS card so that you can then have more storage for your footage.
So, now that you know where the battery goes, how to power it on, the SXS cards, we can get into some of the more basic functionality, like your iris, your zoom, your focus. Not too much different than the Z7U at all. It's pretty much the same thing. So you can see our auto iris is our wheel's already going because the lens is freaking out. I usually like to put everything on manual. So that way you have complete control. So you have your iris, and here's your macro and your focus. And down here, you have your servo manual zoom. Now I put everything to manual, so that way I just have control over everything. And you never want to actually touch any of these while you have them on auto, because if you have your iris on auto and you actually physically try to move this wheel, you can damage the wheel. And the same goes for your focus or anything. So make sure that if you're on auto, you don't touch it. And then if you want to touch it, put it to manual. Right here on the Z7Us, this functions the same way. This is your focus ring. So you can do auto and manual through this ring as well. So if you push this ring forward like it is right now, this is your autofocus, and you don't want to move this ring too much. If you want to push this on manual really quickly, because you're in the viewfinder, you don't want to look on the side of the camera, you can just push this ring back, and now you're into manual. And over here is your manual zoom, and your closest ring is going to be your iris. If you don't know, it determines how much light you're actually letting into the camera. So you can have a closed iris or you can have it all the way open. Now with the Z7Us, your ND filter used to be right here in the back, and you used to adjust it that way. But right now, your ND filter is right here behind the iris ring. So you have all your options right here in this little area, and it's pretty nice. And as far as that goes, you have your gain and your white balance, and your zebra, your peaking, your full auto. And you don't usually worry too much about these, but we will talk about white balance because white balance is extremely important. So let's look at that. White balancing is essential to your shooting. Pretty much the rule is that every time your light changes or you purposely change your light, you'll have to readjust the white balance. The white balance basically tells the camera what is white, so that way it can determine all the other colors. And you'll want a white piece of paper, a white card, something white, you know, a person's t-shirt, whatever works. And you'll want to zoom in and then adjust the white balance and then zoom back out, and that way your colors should be set. With the Z7Us, it was a little hard to determine because there wasn't too much change in the LCD monitor. So honestly, I was never really sure if it did white balance or not. But with this one, we can be sure. Your white balance adjustments are right here. So you can have your preset, your A or your B, and then your actual white balance button is over here on the front of the camera underneath. It's kind of hard to find, but it's, let's see if we can look at it. This over here is actually going to be your white balance. I know it's kind of in an awkward spot, but the idea is that if you're behind the camera, you can just reach around in front of the camera and press that white balance button.
Okay, so now we've got our footage on our SXS card. We're back at our computer to start dumping the footage in and editing it. This is assuming that you're going to be using Final Cut. We're using Final Cut Pro 7 for the Mac. And basically, you've got your card. You've got this little Sony SXS reader, which is fairly good size, fits on your desk, plugs in via mini USB in the back, has your power cord here. It's a really simple setup. So you just take the card, plug it in, have an indicator light here that blinks. Okay, we're good to go. So that's down on the counter now. If you go up to File within Final Cut, and you're going to want to go to Log and Transfer. Normally you'd go to Log and Capture if you were capturing tape footage, but thankfully we don't need to do that anymore. So we're going to go to Log and Transfer. Once the window opens up, you should be able to see the footage. Here's some footage we shot of just us clowning around. Here's the clip. It is 5 minutes and 35 seconds long. So we select the clip, simply drag it down here where it says drag media here, pretty straightforward, and it immediately starts to export. So there you have it. We're all done transferring our footage. Now granted, it was only 5.5 minutes, but that took probably just over a minute or so to transfer from the card to the machine. Close this window. If you look here, my footage is now in my computer and I'm ready to edit. So lastly, before I close this section, I just want to mention that when you do take out these cameras, please just be mindful to treat them as if they were your own. We want to be gentle with the doors and the different buttons on the camera because we want to make sure that we keep them good enough and intact for everyone to be able to use. It can be very easy to force something into a slot that doesn't fit in and break the camera or break the card. So if you need any help with anything, please don't hesitate to ask a member of staff. We're more than happy to go over with you and help you, give you a refresher course so that we don't have any issues. Please don't hesitate to ask. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Chris Bowden.
And I'm...
You're who?
Right. Let's take a look.
One more?
One more.
So the great thing, 3, 2, 1,
that they record on,
which is called
the SS Minnow.
Nope. Now the great thing about the SXS card that, okay, so the great thing about having a camera that takes SXX, why do they name them that? You download your footage into your computer from your, dang it, shoot, I'm messing up like crazy, I'm using the wrong words. 3, 2, 1. Chris Bowden.
And I'm Christian from HCTV. And today we are here.
Wow.
How does it get worse?
I don't know.
The reality of it and the new media that I dropped on the ground and now is now broken. That's junk.